Hello, everyone at Infium. I'm excited to be back for a B&B chain episode. You asked for some Continuum folks. I brought you some amazing AI and global cross-border payment interoperability, as well as some incubator resources from MoonRiser. There's a lot going on at Continuum. Just to plug what we're doing, you guys can follow all of it, see our deck, our thesis, sign up, get involved with our network of Web3 business intelligence at continuum.market, and follow us on social at Continuum3000. We're excited to be here, and I'm really excited to introduce Eli Beckman, also known as Glassy in the industry. He is pivotal, absolutely critical, and you will get to know him very well if you're part of Continuum, of all the things that we do and what we call our concierge services. So he's going to talk a little bit about MoonRiser, which is his brand, and the Twitter spaces he's hosting, the connectivity that he's building within communities, the public-facing things he does for deal flow and venture capital services. So many things are happening. So we're going to spotlight MoonRiser next with Glassy.
Hello, how are you? Okay.
Great.
Check 1, 2. Is that coming through?
Yes, you're great. You're in. Did you want to share your screen, Glassy?
I would love to. That zoom is. All right, so MoonRiser, as Christina mentioned, is actually an initiative that started about a year ago. It came really squarely with this awareness that there's just not enough business acumen in the Web3 space. There's a lot of great founders. We're finding wonderful ways of jumpstarting communities. But there needs to be certainly a lot more support in the way of founders and creators of these different projects. And so MoonRiser was developed with this concept that not only do we want to build a launchpad, but we want to build a community of founders and of these specific shared services as a way to help propel various startups and founders within our community, to help give them a better footing as they're making their way toward launching their product or raising funds. I guess you could say those key things. Looking with a very strong area of business development, also a lot of thought leadership. We, as Christina mentioned, we gather every morning on Twitter Spaces in order to essentially host a 2-hour mastermind session. We come through different, here's my video. We come through different curated subject matter. We have a lot of really key, amazing SMEs from different areas, different verticals, from certainly the area of AI, business development, some of the first people that had created virtual reality and things like that. We talk a lot about tokenomics, but really with this bigger focus on how do we present and create ease of access to key resources that are needed as an entrepreneur and through the journey as an entrepreneur. So I'll just flip through this deck pretty quickly. We're not really in the middle of a direct raise for ourselves, but we will be moving towards launching a fund very soon. And in the meanwhile, we're looking to build more and more relationships with different investors, VCs, et cetera, to be part of our bigger platform that we're building, so that as we're incubating different projects and we have certain key requirements or perfect matches, that we're able to introduce those at the appropriate time. I'm not going to just read through this verbatim. I did have this deck on tap, so I figured I'll just flip through it quickly. Happy to share it with everyone if you want to go into deeper detail. Safe to say, anything related to Web3, we have a very strong subject matter expertise around, a lot of experience in, access to developers, access to marketers, content creators, certainly in the realm of go-to-market strategy, which is a very specific thing when you're talking about tokens or NFTs, as I'm sure anyone here that has had any of that kind of experience can say. It's a very unique animal. We're very ETH focused, but we have certainly a lot of strong ties to other blockchains. One of the most recent programs that we launched is a accelerator, I should say an incubator kind of bootcamp program that we're doing in conjunction with Hedera. We plan on continuing to launch or continuing to evolve that program in respect to different blockchains and continue to be the gateway, both to developers as well as actually helping build these key communities for these new projects and protocols. Okay. So our Launchpad is pretty much developed into 3 key components. We do a lot of skill building. So this is where a lot of our daily shows come in. We also have a media outlet that we publish articles on that are all around this area of thought leadership in Web3 and AI in the entrepreneur's journey. Certainly a lot of onboarding. That's where we cut our teeth. Me in particular was education in Web3. We launched one of the biggest communities on Clubhouse, and from there educated upwards of 250,000 people. Many people within our community went on to launch multi-million-dollar careers, selling NFTs, launching massively successful projects and platforms. Then we kind of pivoted, like I said, about a year ago into launching MoonRiser in particular, focusing on the entrepreneur community. So we have our Web3 Launchpad, and then we have our Web3 Launch Network, which is just a bit of a bigger network that maybe not people that are coming into our show on a daily basis, but just a larger support network. So these are some of our key areas of support that we get through our parent company, GLASSHAUS Studios. This is essentially the OG in the space that was involved in helping NFTS Tips run. We were hired by Outlier founder to run NFTS.WTF, a news outlet. That was a DAO-powered news outlet that we ran for about 1.5 years. We built an entire editorial team to satisfy the requirements of that contract. But now we do mostly narrative production. We're working on a number of new ventures, joint ventures, in particular, amplified PR in combination with Continuum to be able to bring turnkey PR services into our Launchpad environment, as well as animation and video production through our connection and collaboration with our studio. So a bit of a background there. Continued ecosystem support. So this is where I was mentioning our education is a huge component of what we're looking at building as far as some of the tools, tooling, and platforms. Endless Learning is one of our projects that we're incubating, which is a metaverse-style immersive learning environment where we have branded VR courses. We do all of the content production, development, and all of these things on a case-by-case basis, so we can turn on, say, a University of DeFi or a university course curriculum specific to a blockchain like Arbitrum or onboarding into Polygon or whatever it might be. So Endless Learning is one of our ventures. Venture Studio is something that we're putting together. As I mentioned, we'll be building a fund going into 2023 through the end of the year and into 2024. We'll be building a fund, and Amplify PR, as I mentioned earlier, being a joint venture through Plato, facilitated with Continuum. So as you see, we're really trying to create like a shared services model where we make it very easy for the entrepreneurs in our ecosystem to be able to launch and have ease of access to key vendors, key access to support, things like capital if they need it, things like mentorship is another program we're launching. And this is where we're looking at for projecting some of our revenue streams and breakdowns. And that pretty much brings us up squarely towards the end of our presentation. I could go on and on. There's so many more details, but I'll just leave it at that. Appreciate everyone's time, and if there's any questions, we'd be happy to entertain.
Well, it's great. This kind of help is so needed in our space because here we are, discussing the validity of the space almost, one can argue, a decade and maybe decade and a half into it. So it's time to, take it to the next level. And some of the work that you guys are doing is definitely, pointing us in the right direction on this. Is just needs to be done because there's so many moving pieces in Web3 companies, and you as a team, no matter how wonderful you are, you can't just cover all of it yourself. So getting people like what you guys are building here to help you get to the moon.
One of our catchphrases is like, well, we all agree, like whether or not we raised our children in a village or not, we all agree, especially if anyone that actually has children, that it definitely does take a village to raise a child. And we also all agree that our company is like our baby. So doesn't it make sense that it takes a village to raise a company? Yeah. And that's kind of this mentality behind MoonRiser.
100%. So great.